The Eastern Business Report on the Afia Business Morning. I'm Nnamdi Obanya. And yes, I did promise you that I was going to have someone in the studio with me when I come back. And he's right here with me. Now, you may know him as many different things, but I call him the greatest, will I say the greatest designer in the Southeast? Would I be wrong to say that? I have here with me in the studio the one and only CBEN. See, we had to give it a very long, very long introduction. Good morning, great to have you here this morning.
Thank you so much, CBEN and Nandi.
Great to have you here. First of all, you have to come and outstunt me on my own breakfast show.
Fine.
So, we've been doing Fashion Week, we've been talking to stylists, we're talking to event planners, and now, so let's talk to you who is somebody who, will I say, you operate on the whole value chain. You have to find your own fabric. You have to find your own materials, transport it, and you have to find your own market. So from the beginning to the end. So let me start. What is the most difficult part of the chain? Is it getting the fabrics, getting the market, or is it even the cost of the actual production? Which side is the most difficult?
Okay, well, thank you for having me here. And thanks for the production team and everything you guys do for businesses in the Southeast. It's a whole lot. It will shock you. It's none of these things you mentioned. The problem we are having is to actually get a team set up for the business. Right now is the most difficult things to do.
To get people?
To get teams set up. Because at some point, you can no longer do it yourself. This business, you can't do it. One person can't do this business if you really want to be efficient.
Yeah.
In fact, abroad, where we learn some of these things from, one person cannot make a shirt.
Yes.
One will do a collar, one will do the sleeve, one will cut, one will iron, one will do, But here, you have to start doing all that by yourself, So, as we speak right now, to source for fabric is not a problem because we are opportune to be born and bred in the East, where you have most of our uncles that do this business, that are into importation of this whole value chain, both from the fabrics to the accessories to all the interior that you need. So all these things, we've always seen those things. While we're growing up, we've seen some of the most expensive accessories, the buttons, any fabrics you can think of. It's in our disposal. So those things are not our problem. Right now, to source people that will work with you as a team is in decline. We no longer have any young person that wants to do this business. That's the truth of the matter. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I understand, but
those tailors that you see, they are no longer available. In those days, I'm from Abia State in one of the states in the Southeast. What they know Igbo people is when you grow up and you learn a trade, you teach another person how to do that same trade.
Yeah.
Those boys, those parents that usually come to one uncle that is in the city to help to mentor one of their sons or one of their daughters are no longer coming. Most of those young people who usually get interested to learn some of these things are no longer coming. It's no longer attractive to do any of these trade, whether it's the shoe or tailoring or selling fabric and all those stuff. None of them are interested to do this thing anymore.
So, the question is this now. Is it that there are other things? Because when you said to get people was difficult, I thought maybe people were not staying long. Maybe when they learn small, they go and start on their own. But from what I'm hearing now, they're not even coming at all.
They are not coming at all. And I was trying to study why. Because that's even why we started the CBENTOUCH Boys Guide. To understand why most of these guys are no longer interested to do some of these things. And I think only have this problem. They are not coming at all. Most of the ones that maybe because of circumstance wants to come, don't stay long. In fact, the last election, I lost about 4 different guys who came to tell me that they got a job the election. Some people are employing them to work for them during this election. I said, what kind of job? Is it INEC people? He said, no, it's not INEC people. Oh, that INEC people, that how much can INEC people pay them? That I pay them more than INEC people. They're the politicians. The politicians are the ones that are recruiting these guys, almost, especially during the election, during the campaign and the electoral period. They get this guy, pay them a lot of money. And they are also seeing these politicians. They are our neighbors, they are brothers. We know where they live.
Yeah.
But in less than a few years of maybe appointment or by selection or by whatever you call it, these guys will now become ridiculously rich with billions of dollars. So how would you convince any young person to do what we're doing? To do a craft, to sit down, because this job, you need to really sit down, bend your neck, bend your waist, sometimes bend yourself to do some of these tiny, tiny things. If you don't have patience, if you like money and your interest is to make money, you can't do this job because you have to grow this job from the scratch. Just like I told you, you have to start doing everything yourself. It is so vigorous. You can't handle it all. So at the end of the day, these guys have influenced them that this craft that we're doing is not lucrative. Man, because one person will just get into that office and make a whole lot of money for the whole generation. And nobody's asking them, where did you make this money from? Where is this money coming from? Nobody, including me and you, wants to have a politician in our family. A politician is now becoming a title, that is bigger than every other title in the world. Unfortunately enough, we have our own definition of what politics is in Nigeria.
Yes.
So that's it. As we speak, the election, the new governance is running. I think this should be close to 2 years.
2 years, by May-29, 2 years.
Fine. And they are still politicking. In fact, they're even still projecting how they will secure the next 4 years. There's no governance happening. There's nothing. So what would you tell any young person to do what we're doing? So that's the major problem we have right now. Not to source the materials that we need. To source the materials that we need, we have problem in that area because of some inflation and all those stuff. But I think we'll get to that point. But right now, that's the most important. That's the problem we have right now.
So I mean, this throws a whole defense panel, because it means that, let us now look at it. I was saying, that means that even the guy who goes to the port to get the fabrics, the warehouse, he too will be having problems.
Of course.
Getting people to learn the trade at that point.
Of course, yes.
Then the guy who is doing logistics, whose job it is, will be having problems getting people to work with him. The
chain is affected, yes. Ask around, ask people, ask importers. They will tell you. Most of the big shots in the importation, most of my friends that do importation, most of them now have to find time to be in the warehouse. Or rather, to have their wives come out to the warehouse to put an eye on what is going on. Because most of these guys, it's either they want to come and work for you to steal your products, or to siphon, to take some funds off the company. So it's a very big problem. And that is why we are losing it in the Southeast, where we have a lot of people doing crafts, a lot of people doing things. If you noticed, even in Aba, where every one of us know, where I was born and bred, they are losing it. Most of the guys that they're known as to be very creative and very industrious, the number is reducing.
Yeah.
Most of every time you say, if you go Aba, you get this thing by the next minute. In the next 1 hour, you get a shirt. Next 1 hour, you get a suit. It's no longer like that. Most of them have started disappointing. In fact, most of my clients, surprisingly, come from that region. Before, it's not possible that you can have a customer in Aba. It's not possible. Because you have quite a lot of tailors in Aba who can handle most of your things done in less than 1 hour, no matter what it is. But right now, it's no longer interested. They are no longer interested. It's no longer attractive. The time they will use in fixing a shirt for you, they will use it to press some few buttons on the system and make millions of dollars. So they're not interested. They would rather focus on how to do one or two negative things. I'm not saying there are no, but I'm telling you that the number is reducing.
Yeah, there are very few. And of course, the few that are there now, I know they say that, when there's high demand, it means price will go up. But when there are few people, delivery will go down, like you mentioned.
Of course, they're still disappointed. A lot of weddings, a lot of persons has been disappointed on their wedding day. In fact, they will keep promising them, the suit will be ready in the next week, the suit will be ready, don't worry, don't bother, you just come. On Thursday, your wedding is just Saturday, on Thursday you pick it up. Before you know it, if you get to that Saturday in the morning, you will not have any suit to wear. Ask anybody. It's now recurring every other time. It's now becoming a problem. Yes, of course. Many of them, those OG, those of our fathers that made that name for Aba are in their 80s, 90s. Most of them are dead. So the young persons are no longer interested. Most of them are no longer interested. In fact, most of them are coming to this job maybe because of just maybe for handouts so that they can now get to the destination where they are really going to. Not like some of us that takes it as our main business and we started building it from scratch and all that.
So to some people, it's not a craft. It's either just a temporary meal ticket or a way to maybe if I start showing for politicians, they will know me and I can enter politics. Because from what I'm seeing, I mean, like something you mentioned something which was a lot of people don't want to go through the process.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand. Even this media industry we're in, when I tell people, look, I started in 2000, 25 years ago. I started from production floor.
Wow.
So nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a camera and a mic, I'm a content creator, they are making money.
That's it.
So I guess it's across, every business.
Yeah.
So now, if you have this problem now, at the same time, when the Chinese are looking into our markets, are we not in danger also franchising our? Because today now, we had a report from Aba where there was one guy's story who touched me, where the guy said he's a shoemaker, but the price of chemical, for instance, that from, things from 50 naira to 5,000 naira, from 100 naira to 3, that he can't even afford his own raw materials. The last time I was in Aba, they kept saying they had been telling the government that they didn't even want money. What they wanted was they should get something in the market where people can pay small to use compactors.
Yeah.
So that people don't need to own one.
Yeah.
Put a compactor, put this. And my question is, even the government themselves, as they are seeing all these issues, this is a goose laying a golden egg. Why is nobody looking at this industry and saying, we need to do some direct intervention? There's no intervention.
Of course, absolutely, there's none. As long as I've been around for some time.
Because even up to vocational training, no intervention.
Nothing. They will say they have SME going on and all those stuff. Nothing is going on. Nothing really is going on. In fact, I travel a lot because I've grown to a point where I now go to China, travel out, and source most of these things myself. If you go to China, you have a lot of friends that travels. Most of the things you find in China are ridiculously cheap, so affordable. And how will you be able to have access to a very nice shoe with like $3? How is that possible? Ridiculously cheap. I'm talking about very nice canvas. Yes. $2, $3. And they have the power, they have the industries, they have the enablement, they have control on their youths to be productive. They have all these things. How come that the giants of Africa, our politicians or our leaders, are not looking towards that direction? We have the numbers, we have everything, we have the resources, but they're not looking towards that direction. It's rather the maybe individual that want to have industries. Exactly. We do not have any industry working. No youth is being employed anywhere. Any youth who will grow up in this country will find a way
Yeah.
And that is the biggest problem we are having. These guys will win an election, or they will find their way into the office. Then they will celebrate for 2 years. Because as far as I'm concerned, they are still celebrating the election they won 2 years ago. Now, after celebrating, they are now different groups are now coalition, and these ones are trying to make sure that they collapse this particular political party and all those stuff. That's what we are hearing. That's what we are hearing. One senator yesterday was talking about that he's amongst all the problems that we have in the country, that his problem is the view that he sees when descending on Abuja Airport. That is his problem. So, that's the problem. They misplace priority. That's his problem. They misplace priority. They just keep talking rubbish and all this stuff and leave the most important thing. Nothing is being done in this country as we speak. Nothing. We have, if you apply a loan as a business nobody's granting any loan. No grant is going on. Unlike during Goodluck Jonathan, at least some money went around.
I asked this thing, and they always talk about how, Easterners don't take advantage of all these things, that, Easterners don't. And my question is, where is the campaign? Bank of Industry is in this estate.
Of course, yes.
Nexim Bank is in this estate.
Of course, yes.
What is it? I was seeing something that the CBN governor was saying that they want to freeze interest rates. I was just looking at them, 16% interest rates. A country like China will have single-digit interest rates, because in the southeast, and you can testify to this, quick turnover is the business model here.
Of course.
So where are the banks that are calling everybody to
this bank you just mentioned now, the Bank of Industry? Go there, apply. They will tell you they want to see the machines that you want to buy. They will be the one to purchase the machine for you, and perhaps the maintenance. But there is no plan for long-term maintenance, because that is the problem. It's not about purchasing the machine. What about the maintenance long-term? Then you are expected to be paying, it's not grants. You're expected to pay some percentage and all that.
Yeah.
If you bring those machines, there is no lights, whether government's provided source or the one you provide yourself. There is no light. In fact, it's not the same. Before, if NEPA brings light, at least you have leverage than you putting using your fuel on your diesel. But right now, it's almost the same.
Yeah.
The bill they bring to us is almost the same as our budget of using diesel for a week. So you see, the whole everything. Sometimes I wonder how people that are starting this business really are copying, because it's everything. You won election. The first thing you do is to remove subsidy. Yes, I know. I remember almost P2B and all of them said they would do the same. But how do you plan to remove it?
Koshari said something, Cosmos Paduka. He said that people were telling him, but he said Peter Obi on day one, that they're not different. He said that's not what he was saying. That yes, he knows Peter Obi, and Peter Obi would have removed it day one. But the problem with this government is that when they remove subsidy, what do they do with the money?
Yeah, exactly. No, that is we all know that's no longer news. We know our corruption. We know the corruption and all that. We know all these things. But I'm saying that we need to do better. There's quite a lot of things going on. I think you give me opportunity. Maybe if it's one of the questions you ask, I really need to maybe share some light on how to help some designers that are starting on business.
Go ahead. I think it's very important.
Yes, because right now, I have 4 designers from January to this point that have collapsed their business. They want to collapse it into mine. But the letter they drafted is not really, my lawyer did not approve of it. So they decided to work for me instead. They have collapsed their, I'm talking about, they're not doing bad as at 5 years ago. But right now, they have locked up their shops. They have collapsed their business. And they are now working for another brand. And this is what our government should really pay attention to. I need these people to be passionate. A lot of people are losing their businesses and losing their relationships, because if you're no longer capable to take care of your family, you are losing the family, you're losing the relationship.
Oh.
I'm serious. A lot of things is going on the street. I know most of this, you guys will help them to tell them. A lot of things is going on. Now, how can a business, like the business like the one that I do, clothing business, but if you call it fashion business, is quite a lot, But concentrating, because there are a couple of things I now do. I now have where they produce my shoes. Okay. I now have some belts, wallets, and some of these things that I can sell because of the people I know. Right now, we are producing singlets and boxers, for most of our clients. We now advise them the color to wear instead of wearing most of those black and those things that are not healthy for a man to wear. We now give them light gray, whites, and light pink and all those stuff that they can wear, so that just a value chain from what we do. So my advice for some of these young people that are still interested to do this business, or that are caught up because of the policies, the government policies and all those inflationary measures and all that stuff, they should go back to dust what they know about this job. If they need the help, they can come forward. If I cannot do that, if I don't have time, I can send them to some of my boys that are doing well, so that they can update what they know about this job. Because no matter what that happens, you should still make money. No matter the worst, the level, how the economy and everything, you should still do well. You just need to, to have your strategy right.
Oh.
Because I have a shadow brand of CBENTOUCH, a shadow brand, which I don't want to mention the name, that produces for some boutiques. Because, you should, most of these things we wear. I now lobby most of these boutiques to have some of our products in their boutiques. I'm talking about very big, multi-million naira boutiques in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Calabar. That's where we have for now. We now have drafted some agreements. And instead of you waiting for customers to come, you can actually talk to some of these. You have them around. You have some of them around. I will not mention them because...
Yeah, of course.
We have most of them around.
Yeah.
You can talk to them, make some nice stuff, upgrade yourself first of all. That's why I said you should go for maybe a mentor. If you have a mentor, if you don't have any, get one. Someone that will really tell you the truth. Someone that will really open up and tell you, okay, this is the mistake you are doing in your cutting. This is the mistake you are doing in your assembling, your finishing and all that. Or maybe your materials and all, or your concept. Get those things correctly. Make some good designs. Approach some of these boutiques. Tell them, I can actually display these things. Buy mannequin. Tell them to give you a space where you can actually display some of your nice, best designs. Make it simple. Not like putting so much money in ready to wear, those mass production. No, just do some few pieces. Look for their manager. Talk to them. They will start sampling it, and you will be shocked. People will start looking for, oh, wow, you people have this thing. And before you know it, you start making a hell of money. That's one of those ways you can cushion the effect of this whole thing going on, because most of these guys, most of them are locking up their shops.
For them, I mean, that's a very scary way to end it. Most of them are locking up their shops. And this is a conversation that we'll have to expand on and we'll have to have again, because, so much now is now left undiscussed.
Okay.
But so we're committed to having you back to open discussion again.
It's okay, fine.
Thank you so much for being here. And as usual, always looking, even no matter how bad the economy, always looking like $1 million.
Yes, we thank God. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here this morning. We really appreciate having you here. And that's all we can take on the Eastern Business Report this morning. I myself will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. when the exchanges reopen for trading. Till then, this is Nnamdi Obaya saying have a very profitable day.